Good morning, everyone, and happy Tuesday morning to you. Welcome back to Morning Musings. My name is Don K. Preston. I am the president of Preterist Research Institute of Ardmore, Oklahoma, and we're looking at Matthew chapter 24 and 25. The disciples, in response to Jesus' prediction of the fall of Jerusalem. Now, I want you to catch the power of that very fact. Jesus, when the disciples showed him the size and the beauty of the temple. And why did they show him those? Why were they pointing that out? Because he had just said, Matthew 23:37, your house is left to you desolate. He had just predicted the fall of Jerusalem. So the disciples began to show him the size and the beauty of the stones. And he says, the time is coming in which not one stone shall be left standing on top of another. The disciples immediately, as a result of that prediction, asked, when shall these things be? What shall be the sign of your coming in the end of the age? Now let me ask you a question. Why would the disciples link in their mind the fall of Jerusalem with the coming of the Lord and the end of the age? Now if you answer, well, because Jesus had already taught them about his coming and about the end of the age. Well, that's true. But here's the question. What had Jesus taught them about his coming before Matthew chapter 24? A very quick summary. Matthew chapter 10. Jesus sent his apostles out on the limited, what we call the limited commission. But he warned them that they were going to be persecuted, chased, despised, ostracized, etc., and that they were to flee. But he said, you will have not gone through the cities of Israel until the Son of Man be come. Now wait a minute. Jesus is talking to living, breathing human beings. He is sending them out to preach. He said they would be persecuted. He said they were to flee through Israel. But he assured them they would not have fled through all of the cities of Israel until he came. That means it had to happen in their lifetime, no matter what else you think. You know, it's absolutely stunning to me. Absolutely stunning that there are just one Facebook poster after another who openly ridicule, openly reject, openly criticize Bible students for appealing to the 101 New Testament statements about the coming of the Lord being imminent. We are told, well, if you're going to appeal to the time statements, you've got to accept the implications of that. That's right. But let's turn that around. When you openly reject the 101 time statements about when Jesus was going to come, i.e., and now in a very, very little while the one who is coming will come and will not tarry, unquote, i.e., the coming of the Lord, the parousia, has drawn near, unquote, James 5, verse 8. The judge is standing right before the door, James 5 and verse 9. When you openly reject that, you must face the consequences and the implications of rejecting the inspired Word of God. And by the way, if God would have wanted to communicate the objective nearness of Jesus' coming in the first century, would any of those 101 time statements have communicated that imminence? Folks, look, it is stunning to read the very often arrogant, but most of all, the blithe way in which these people wave aside 101 time statements in the New Testament about when the Lord was coming. 101 verses don't count. So this is what Jesus had to say about his coming. You will not have gone through the cities of Israel before the Son of Man comes. Well, let's see. Matthew chapter 13. Jesus predicted the end of the age. When would the end of the age be? Now, we'll deal with the end of the age more extensively later. But let me just throw this out there. The end of the age would be when the righteous would shine forth as the sun in the kingdom, at the coming of the Son of Man. And boy, will we have some comments to make on the coming of the Son of Man. Anyway, but you see, that's a direct quote. When the righteous would shine forth as the sun, that's a direct quote from Daniel chapter 12 and verse 3. The time of the resurrection, which is the time of the end of the age, when the righteous would shine forth in the kingdom. Daniel 12, 2 and 3. Well, when would that be? Daniel chapter 12, verse 7, when the power of the holy people has been completely shattered. So here is Jesus predicting the end of the age and his coming, quoting the prophecy of Daniel. But Daniel said that time, that end of the age, would be when the power of the holy people was completely shattered. That's what Jesus is predicting in Matthew chapter 24. Oh, and in Matthew 16, 27 and 28, Jesus said, the Son of Man will come in the glory of the Father with his angels, and shall reward every man according to his works. And verily I say unto you, there are some standing here who will not taste of death until they see the Son of Man coming in his kingdom. When did Jesus say he was coming? Before all those people died. And no, that's not the transfiguration. What did he say he was going to do when he came? He was going to judge. And he was going to come with the angels. Well, that's Matthew chapter 24 and verse 30 and 31. So here are three passages, and for time I'm skipping over some. Here are three passages that speak of the coming of Christ. Each one of them puts it in that generation. Each one of them puts it in judgment of the Jews. Now, did the disciples remember those previous predictions of Jesus' coming and judgment of Jerusalem? I suspect they did. If not, where do we have the indication that they didn't? So the disciples knew that yes, indeed, Jesus had predicted he was coming prior to Matthew chapter 24. Those predictions are prior to Matthew 24. But they also knew it would happen in their lifetime. Where in the world do we get the authority for saying the disciples understood, knew, comprehended that the fall of Jerusalem would be the coming of Jesus out of heaven in a literal physical body at the so-called end of time? Where would they have gotten that idea from Jesus' previous teaching up to the point of Matthew 24? Where is it at? Where is the unequivocal teaching of Jesus' end of time coming? So that the disciples would have linked that with Matthew 24 and the prediction of the fall of Jerusalem. Where did the disciples get the idea to link Jesus' coming with the fall of Jerusalem? Well, they got it from at least those three previous references, and all of those other references agree, by the way. There is not one single reference, not one single occasion prior to Matthew chapter 24 in which Jesus predicted his coming at the end of the Christian age, at the end of time, and him coming as a 5'5" Jewish man riding a literal cloud out of heaven. It's not there. And I'll verify that on the flip side. Don't forget, take advantage of my 2-book special. Look, these are almost gone. I got to tell you, they're almost gone. So regularly $35, purchased independently, individually, until January, the end of January, $25 total cost, delivered to your door. Go to my website, donkpreston.com, bibleprophecy.com, and you'll see a banner right up at the top where you can easily order. All right, we'll continue in the morning answering the question, what did the disciples understand what was Jesus' teaching prior to Matthew chapter 24 about his coming? Well, we've got to take a look at a few other passages to demonstrate and to prove to you Jesus had not said one single thing about an end of time coming, end of the Christian age coming, or him coming in a physical body. Nothing. So we'll see you on the flip side.